Producing basically is like a movie director. You're in charge of everything. You're in charge of the songs. You're in charge of booking studio time, who's going to play on it, the musicians, the engineers, managing the budget. Yeah, it encompasses the whole, nuts and bolts of ground, from the grassroots to mastering, even giving input on who's going to be the mastering engineer. So the producer pretty much is in charge of the whole project with the artist and with the company. It is never by yourself. It's in conjunction with the artist and with the company, and everybody's in the same page, and it's a teamwork. But that producer is the point person for all the problems that have to be resolved and all the creative questions that come up. That producer is the point person on the project. I think that there is no difference in producing for Latin music opposed to producing classical music. It's the same principle. You're the person who has to deliver the final product. It's producing. You have to produce. You have to produce that final product that hopefully gets on the radio or television or whatever it is. Whether it's classical, Latin, hip-hop, whatever it is your job. So I think the job is pretty similar, and regardless of the genre of music. To produce for Latin music is probably harder than producing a hip-hop record in the regard that you have so many different dialects within the same language. I mean, someone in Argentina speaks differently than a person in Chile, believe it or not, even though they're neighbor countries. Mexico's totally different. Puerto Rico's totally different. Dominican Republic, Cuba. So there are words that one person understands that the other doesn't. So you have to almost really be in tune to what people are saying all around Latin America. Make sure that you're not offending anybody. Make sure that what you're saying other people can understand. Or if they don't understand, you have to educate them. Musically speaking, every country has their own local artists. They have their own local type of music. So it's not like hip-hop that everybody likes hip-hop or everybody likes whatever. No. You have Argentina that has their thing, is more rock-oriented. Mexico's more pop-oriented, and northern Mexico, norteño music. You have Puerto Ricans that like more, street salsa, merengue, reggaeton, pop. Everybody's so different, and you have to try to reach them all, which is hard to do. And the most important thing is the language, I think. The dialects, understanding where each one comes from, and each one's culture. It's a very, very difficult job. Not the case, but what I do find is success usually comes to producers and artists later on, for the most part. Once they get experience, once they figure it out. That's why it's hard to find young producers have a lot of success throughout, consistently in this Latin genre, because generally it takes you a long time to figure out what each country's about, traveling there, talking to these people. It's not like you got the young sound, the young hip sound that everybody buys. It's a little bit more complicated than just having a hot sound. It's about really understanding the culture, and that doesn't come to you when you're 19 years old. It's rare, unless you're working with somebody who really knows the deal, so to speak. You almost have to be more experienced, and it takes a while to get to that point. You better understand it. If you don't, you're not going to survive. You have to respect it. Maybe you don't know how to do. Maybe I don't know how to do a ranchera, but you have to be able to live what they live and understand what they're about, what they're trying to transmit. You have to respect what they're doing. You have to respect rock en español. You have to respect reggaeton. You have to respect salsa, merengue, bachata. Doesn't mean I have to personally love it or understand it, but you have to respect what they're doing and how they're doing it, and their marketplace, and who their target is, and the demographic. It's a very business-oriented job. It's just not a nice song. It's a nice song, and how do I get that nice song into the masses? That's the trick. You have to respect what they're doing. You need patience. You have to be patient. You have to use a lot of psychology. If you can buy psychology books, buy it. Really, buy some psychology. There's many great books out there. It's patience, psychology, knowing how to speak to people, knowing how to treat people. Not talking to them in a demeaning way, in a derogatory way. Being very, very nice to people will take you a long way. Believe me. It's not there's a misconception of treating people like dirt. No. It's being a nice person. Because, on your way up, and you're going to meet those same people on your way down. And you got to be friends with them. And they have to like you. And they'll help you get back on your feet. Because if not, you're toast. You have to be a nice person and treat people right. And they'll remember you. That this is a nice guy. So I think that's a really big quality also in producing. Aside from the musical aspect of that's important. That's going to come from your own talent. But once you get on a roll, keep your feet on the ground. Because things happen quickly in this business. You come here today, you're gone tomorrow. That's how it works.